How are you all? Right now, we're in one of those times. There are times when Ripple tells you what's going to happen next by chance. Additionally, if you don't know how things work, you might believe this is only about a new stablecoin. It's not. That's not even close to this. Let's break it all down. There are many things going on at the moment. In other words, I woke up this morning, closed my eyes, grabbed my phone, and hit the screen. When I saw this, it made me jerk my head back. It felt like I had just slammed 5 espresso shots right after each other. This is really big. But first, we need to talk about the market as a whole before we talk about Ripple. The bull market needs to be talked about. The plan is something we need to talk about because none of this is happening by itself. Let me make this bigger for you. Let's start with the one phrase that Ripple doesn't plan to use. That alone should get your attention because what you're seeing now is exactly like what people have said about the Bitcoin bull market in the past. We're easy to find. You can see where we're sitting. Again, the same thing is happening again. Just step back. That's what I always say. Take a step back. This is what every single Bitcoin cycle does. Whenever everyone starts to believe it's over at some point, the top is on, it's no longer exciting. As soon as that was over, there was the relief gathering. One big green candle is all it takes for the market story to go upside down. This happened in 2018. It happened again in 2022. The same feelings, the same fear, the same boredom. It was just a different year. What does that tell me? It tells me a simple thing. It's still going to be 4 years. It was never there. The dull part comes before it tears. Now, for those of you who want to be in a situation instead of being late, let's do it again. Things get interesting when Bitcoin starts to level off after its peak or even after a big move. That's when your money starts to look for the next deal, market rotation, or chance. Most people don't get this. Bitcoin doesn't just drain the market of cash forever. Capital turns over at some point. Also, in the past, what wakes up when that shift starts? XRP. Every single time. This isn't just random price movement. Right now, what you see is not chaos. This is the time of setting up. That is all there is to it. Take a look around. Check out Twitter. There are no people in this town. A complete dead town. People will, of course, say that Twitter changed the algorithm or that interest is low or any other reason they want. Not at all. There is no more crypto social media right now. Take a look at the numbers. See how engaged they are. Look at how people feel. It's not gone for good. However, it is sleeping. That is, in fact, the key cue. Why? Because everyone is tired. They're fed up with the market. They believe it is over. They believe the bull run is over. They think it will take 4 more years just to break even again. What do? They get their things ready. In their minds, they shut down. A lot of them lose money when they sell. No one pays attention to the ones that don't sell. The real ones, though, who have been through more than one cycle, do the opposite. They just sit. They're strong. They wait. That brings us right to the XRP price movement. Let's talk about XRP. Get the chart. The shape is clear. It's easy to see where we are. This is a chart for 8 hours. Also, what does XRP do? There is no dumping. There's no moon. What does it always do that bothers you? It's getting stronger. It's going sideways. I know that makes people angry. More than anything else, retail is most annoyed by prices that don't move. But here's the important part that most people miss. Going sideways after making a move doesn't mean you're weak. That was your move. Go up and down. Now turn it sideways. When things move sideways, they tend to pile up. How you pace yourself before a run. The market is taking a break. The position of liquidity is being set. Smart money is loading in the background, so no one is noticing. At this point in the cycle, there's nothing exciting going on. There aren't any fireworks, tweets going popular, or happy candles, and that's the reason it works, because the move is already half done by the time it seems clear. And this is where XRP does really well. Even when everyone is yelling about it, XRP doesn't go off. When the infrastructure is ready, the plumbing is in place, and capital starts to move around behind the scenes, XRP moves. That's why what Ripple revealed by mistake is so important. When you know what's being built instead of what's being pushed, you know this isn't about short-term price changes. This is about getting ready for a change in the structure. A lot of people will miss it after the fact. That's okay, because markets don't like people who pay attention. They reward people who wait. And right now, you are being tried on your patience. In what place are all of my runners? I understand. Some of you are already rolling your eyes. I also don't run, never have been, not my thing. But runners already know what I'm talking about. Take a moment to think about it. What are you going to do before you run? During a run, what do? You walk slowly. You can't just run as fast as you can and hope for the best. You are in charge of your air. You take care of your energy. You give your body time to get ready for the next burst. This image is telling us the same thing right now. The pace is set. The market moves quickly. XRP is moving. There is only one reason for pacing. Another quick move is on the way. But here's what's important. It will happen in this quarter, whether it's late January, early February, or early March. The building is already there. Now the real question is, where does that move lead us? We already know the first big areas of interest, but only time will tell. The range from 4 to 650 is very important. We need to break out of that zone. Will it break? It will break, yes. It's only when that changes, not if. There are a lot of people who get scared here because they can't be sure of something without constant proof. If the price doesn't move every day, they start to doubt their position. The market doesn't work that way, though. Big moves are made when things are dull, not when things are interesting. Why? Because this is where things get tricky. This is where the story goes off track. This is the Faster Payments Council we want to talk about. The fact that Ripple is a member of the Faster Payments Council has nothing to do with payments like Venmo. It's not about sending $20 to your friend right away. That's thinking at the surface level. Settlement is really what this is about. Rules and standards. The infrastructure. For short, the FPC is where messaging standards, liquidity models, and interbank payment rules are discussed, improved, and finally agreed upon before they are put into place throughout the financial system. This is the room where decisions are made about how money will flow in the future. This is the part that most people don't get. Ripple isn't there to offer software for sale. They're not trying to sell anything. They're not showing off dashboards. Their work is much more important. They are making sure that XRP and their stablecoin plan work with the way money can legally and practically move in the US. Once banks set those standards, they don't change them. They don't ask them anything. They don't start over. They take them in. This is called front-running adoption. You do not wait for demand to happen before you act. You become a part of the system before demand goes through the roof. The tracks are already in place by the time institutions wake up. The company Ripple is doing that right now. Now we can move on to the next part, which is where things really start to get interesting. It was on your screen, the foundation for the digital pound. They said that RLGBP sounds good. They also tagged Brad Garlinghouse. Now let me be clear. This wasn't just talk about branding. It wasn't a cute tweet. It wasn't an intern in social media having fun. There is a reason for this. That was a sign. The warning is also easy to understand. Fitting together. When institutions, especially foundations connected to central bank digital currency projects, talk in public, they don't do it haphazardly. Words are picked out with care. Tags are meant to be there. They're sending a message of unity. They're sending a message that Ripple's stablecoin system will work with other digital currencies in the future. Take a look at that. Not going up against them. That work with them. In this case, disruption is not the same as merger. Ripple doesn't want to destroy the system. That's how they're connecting it. Once you know that, you understand why this isn't about price signs or short-term hype. This is about where to put equipment. This is about who will be picked when the standards are set in stone. This is about people who will already understand each other when global payment systems start up. A lot of people won't see this live. They'll see it months later after the news comes out, prices change, and stories change. However, the move has already begun. We're still in the planning phase right now. The time of peace, the stage where nothing seems important. In the past, that's always been the stage right before things get really loud and fast. XRP doesn't need a lot of attention to move. It needs to be lined up. There must be rules. It needs ways to get cash. And that's what's being built right now in front of everyone while most people are busy, bored, or not paying attention. That's how these moves always go. It's not with flames, but with work. The price will be given after the paperwork is done. That's where we are. That's why this moment is important. You saw the tweet from Brad Garlinghouse. He is talking about how the New York Department of Financial Services finally gave Ripple permission to use RLUSD, the OK from the NYDFS. As usual, nothing new. The RLUSD story is already known. That part has been known before. Now, though, things start to get interesting because almost right away after that, the Digital Pound Foundation comes in and tells the boys, hey, let's go. The RL Great British Pound is what we want. Take a moment to think about this. It didn't just happen. The Digital Pound Foundation and Ripple have worked together for years. It's not new. This isn't a turn. This is not a last-minute deal to work together. while everyone else was busy with price candles and court cases, this has been slowly building up. There is a lot more to this than just a new stablecoin. We're talking about digital currency design feedback from central banks, frameworks for tokenized money, and testing how well public and private systems can work together. That's the level at which this works. A future digital pound would not be a threat to RLGBP. It would go well with it. And that's exactly what the government wants. The RLGBP would work as a controlled, private sector compliant instrument that works with the digital pound in the future, not against it. It's very important. Regulators don't want things to break up. They don't want different methods to be in competition with each other. They want an easy way to integrate. This is the part. A lot of people still don't get it. You end up with more than one stablecoin like RLUSD and RLGBP, and maybe even more in the future. Things like different countries, currencies, and rules apply. What is in the middle of all of this? XRP. XRP acts as a neutral currency that lets money flow into and out of these systems. Can you see where this is going? This is no longer just an idea. This is the reasoning of infrastructure. It's getting big really quickly. Don't forget this part because it's the real spark. The Financial Conduct Authority in the UK has given Ripple permission to increase the size of payments. That's not a title. It's safe to go. That means Ripple can now work with a lot of people in the UK. The real amount. Volume for institutions. Volume at the Treasury level. What does that lead us to again? GBPRL. And this brings us back to the news that came out 4 days ago on January 9th. That news release is the key. This is what makes it possible for a lot of UK banks, FX corridors, and Treasury activities to go live. I have a very easy question for you. Where do you think the GBP stablecoin will start to use? It goes live in places where governmental approval is already in place. OK is the same as green light. RLGBP will be the link between buyers and sellers in the UK. Note it down. Take a picture of it. Remember it. And XRP? XRP handles both the coming and going amounts. Separation officials love that kind of separation. A local stablecoin for using in the country. The neutral bridge asset is used for settlements across borders. Clean, legal, and scalable. This is what a regulatory system that is well thought out looks like. Now let's put it all together and talk about why this is so good for XRP. Simply because this is the part that people get wrong. Every new stablecoin adds more places where transactions can stop. Routing gets harder with each new stablecoin. With each new stablecoin, there is a greater need for an asset that is not tied to any one country, bank, or authority. This is not advice about money. In that case, XRP's role gets bigger, not smaller. The price doesn't change here because of news. For some assets, price changes when balance sheets begin. That line has already been crossed by RLUSD. It would be taken even further by RLGBP. It wasn't on the plan because it wasn't ready for the public yet. There is no pivoting in Ripple. They're going up and down sideways. They are making it easier for people to buy and sell XRP while putting it at the center. And XRP is slowly turning into the asset that all other assets must go through. That's not a lie.